I'm going to do a thing.
Hold my beer.
We spend a lot of time on this channel talking about the why of our creative work. But what about the how? I don't mean the technical how-to, but the messy, real-time how of pulling a story out of a complete void. We've been calling it writer's block, artist block, but what good is it to just say, I've got this ailment, this psychological problem? I think we need something practical to do about it. And I want you to share what you do down below in the comments to break yourself out of these log jams or blocks. We've all got ways of doing it. Sometimes when it's a really deep, mucky one, just like anything, we can get ourselves into a big tangled knot. And the only way we can get out is by taking decisive action. This is the hold my beer moment. So how do we get into that state of get out of the way, I'm getting on with it? We get sick and tired of ourselves. There was this saying that I picked up when I was working on the cattle stations. One particular guy, and he used to get out of his swag in the morning and say, oh, I'm sick and tired of waking up sick and tired. We've had enough of ourselves. We just want to grab ourselves by the britches and woof, give ourselves a kick up the bum. How do we get moving where action itself becomes the cure? And as Shakespeare said, action is eloquence. So I am just instigating it. And I don't even need to be all that inspired. I just need to be moving like an animal. So I'm going to be a bit cheeky today and take a few liberties. How does one talk to the muse? Really? It's all very well for us, in the studio having this great big flow, but what if you haven't seen her for a while, a long time? Maybe she shipped herself off to the Bahamas to work with the tech bros. So today I thought I would do something pragmatic about this. And I'm going to take you into my studio to show you a bit of a process that I use sometimes to get me out of a rut. This isn't the only method, but I recorded this footage a little while back, actually last summer, for my other channel, Helen Norton, the artist channel. But I was thinking, if I take snippets of just a couple of days of this 4-part series that I'm working on, it actually captures the process of exactly what I was just talking about. I've only used snippets from part 1 and 2, so the painting isn't finished. It's actually the one behind me, which I will finish in due course. So what we'll do is we'll eavesdrop on this really important conversation that a creator has. It's the dialogue, not with myself in the studio, but actually with the painting. You'll see how the work itself begins to tell its own story, how it magically offers up its own images, and then how I act as a conduit to bringing them out. A lot of artists take all this stuff for granted. I think we should hover on it because it's actually the secret to the magic. But there is a little condition. Don't get too carried away because the magic gods lie all the time. They will lead you up the garden path if you don't pull them up now and again. So it becomes like this dance of listening and respecting the imagery coming forward, but also discerning. But the thing is, you're letting that unexpected quality in with that, sense of humility, as I referred to in the video about the Muse, which I'll put the link up wherever it goes up here. So let's hop over to my studio on a 42 degrees Celsius day, and see how it goes. Every creative dialogue needs a place to start. From that blank canvas, how to solve that intimidation. For me, one of the methods I use, which really works, is I begin with a wild, chaotic, primordial soup of an underpainting. It's purely physical, non-verbal, there's no intellect, it's just an explosion of energy designed to break the tyranny of the canvas. It's intimidating, and to dare the image gods to appear. Make sure you got plenty of paint. You don't have to do a great big massive work like this, but I did because I work like that. And it also gives you a view into how you can engage with your body, which cuts the intellect out. It also shows you one of the great things about working on a large scale, and I've just got this canvas on the floor so it doesn't intimidate me. I didn't have to pay for a big stretch canvas. This is just a piece of material on the floor. And if it doesn't work out, what is it going to cost? Like $100 or something for the material. It's just a better way to cut down on that intimidation and that fear of making mistakes. You can't make a mistake at this point. The only mistake you can make is if you start tightening up. You will see that I'm not totally crazy. Got some hints like essence of sky and essence of tree, because I do have an intention for this painting. So I'm compromising. I know I want it to be a great big painting that will appeal to a client, but I can get my jollies in this by making sure that the way I attack this canvas, the energy I put in underneath it at the origin is wild and strong and wicked. I'm not all tight. I'm dancing around, I've got music on, I pre-prepared buckets of sloppy paint so I wouldn't have to think about that. Didn't need a lot of colours. Now there is also some things that are going to jump out from the underpainting. They're just impressions. They're going to say, pick me, here I am. I can see animals and things. This is real cloud gazing stuff. I haven't actually nominated what this painting is about, and that's very strange for me. I usually have something pushing me in, I've got a topic in mind, but in this case I thought I might go purely with intuition and allow the painting to tell me what it is. This is the core struggle, balancing new intuition with past experience. But this dialogue isn't just with the canvas, it's also with yourself. You've got to wrestle your own history. The ghosts of your past successes, the failures, they're always in the studio with you, intimidating you or pushing you. Now, if you're wondering what is actually motivating me today, I've got this crappy old sketch, just something that's inspiring me. It was from another painting, a major painting that I did in a much more refined way many years ago. But what inspired me was that instead of refining the imagery that I create in my sketchbooks, which are just like cartoons, I want to leave them like that because that's how I really think. And when you've had commercial success, because your imagery is relatable, meaning it's like more figurative, more easily identifiable, you sort of create a rod for your own back because then people expect you to continue doing that. And oh gosh, I'm so over it. Because through the years, I've created many paintings where I've just gone in and kept it really action-based and really expressive. The process of telling a story, and here's where narrative painting gets a bit weird, is that you're telling a story that you want people to relate to, so you tend to err on the side of making it like a storybook where you're spelling things out. And the big leap across the ocean, in a way, is how does it serve you? How do you as an artist get more out of it? And not just be there as a slave, refining every face or every edge or whatever. How can we as artists get much more emotional satisfaction, more expressive? And that's actually where I would like to now take this as a piece of inspirational work, which you can see, I'll show you again. You can see some of the very scratchy, quick things. This is a crucial moment. I'm making a conscious choice to honour my raw, authentic voice over the commercially safe one. And I have got in mind that I'm going to sell this painting, but as I said before, this has to be where the real energy comes in. It is a battle. The temptation to finish and refine the painting is actually powerful. As I always say, it's more about what you don't do than what you do. So resisting and stopping, even though you've only spent a really short time on it, is actually key. All right, so I'm getting to that point where I just don't really want to go any further because I know what's going to happen. And I might just put a little picture up here of a painting that I did. The reason I keep it is that it reminds me of where I stopped and I didn't finish it. I was going to come back and, spend a lot more time refining it, and I didn't. And I was so glad that I didn't, because it was actually another painting. Underneath that, it was this really large abstract. and I just didn't want to keep it. So I just went crazy on it, and it was the unfinished aspect of it that actually made it alive and good. So that's why I'll keep a painting now and again, because it tells me or it teaches me something. But let's be real, this deep internal work doesn't happen in a vacuum. You'll see that the process involves these practical passages. I call them breathing space. We do soul making while we're mixing paint, cleaning palettes, brushes, editing essays, or just walking away, going and doing some cooking. I knew this great writer who could only create if he did these long stints on his ride-on mower in between his very concentrated writing processes. It was the mindless mowing where all the struggles that he was having at his desk with the intellect and the judgment, they just fell away. And by the time he got back, it all made sense. It was almost as if they did their own sorting when he wasn't constantly trying to change everything. I think it's when you walk away, you remember, like, you know, go off and do some, I don't know, whatever you do around your place, washing, cleaning, cooking, shopping, because what happens is your mind rests. It stops doing that kind of narcissistic navel gazing, and you return almost to the real world in that Apollo kind of state where you can sort it, and suddenly it becomes really clear. You remember what you are actually trying to do. It's very strange. But I think we all recognise it, you know, it's the Gordian knot thing, isn't it? You know, you go deeper and deeper, you wind yourself into this tight little ball. It's not a mystical ritual of going and lighting candles everywhere and sniffing incense necessarily. That might be part of your process. Just remember the word, soul making. It's the agitation, the preparation, the stuffing around, the grumpy moves, the abandonment, and then the pressing on. Give yourself space, breathing space. I'll tell you now that those 60 solo exhibitions, all new work for every exhibition, you know, 30 pieces throughout, I guess, 30 years or so, all of those exhibitions, I had months off between them, doing other things. I was running my print business, raising my kids, doing lots of renovations. I was a huge gardener. Everywhere I go, I have amazing gardens because I just can't help it. I have to grow things. I took big swaths of time off in between. I work in passionate fits. The break is where it happens. The muse is fed by the breaks. The cure for her absence is sinking your hands into the practical doing of physical, ordinary things. Living life is the food for her. Living that life creates the experiences you can then respond to once you get in the studio. The good old muse doesn't necessarily look like some goddess dancing and swirling around in a belly dancing costume or some mystical veil. The muse is inspiration. You can call it that if you want. My view is that it is extremely primitive and it comes with the package of the human psyche. It is innate in us. So you might see a couple of clues and hints in this footage coming up as I prepare for the entry of the muse by getting a bucket of water on a boiling hot day. Basic plain brushes. So I'll just whack on a bit of this. I need one. I need a bucket of water. Oh. Ouch. Right. As the dialogue deepens, the pace quickens. Things start to form up. And this is the final push, moving fast across the whole canvas. It's where your technique and skills start to kick in, but you're still having that dialogue all the time. I'm always on the lookout for who's going to show up in the painting. I don't turn that off until way down the track. Sometimes, after I've finished a painting and sat with it for a while, something leaps up and says, this has got to be here. And always the best things that appear are the things you never planned. You didn't intellectually structure into that painting. That's what I mean about keeping yourself in this pliant, open-minded position as you work. Keep your eyes peeled. Go back away from it. Move to the other side of the room. Turn it upside down. You know all those tricks. Pretend you're a stranger. Turn it away for 6 months. Don't look at it. The idea is to keep the energy alive, but to move forward. Don't freeze. We do need to get things done. We've got to make things. We can't be cogitating on it forever and ever. Try and trust it if you want to go forward. If you've got time and you can't work it out, shove it in the cupboard. How many artists do that? Tons and tons. How many manuscripts are shoved in the drawer? At some point, you've got to trust the decisions that came from that back and forth conversation. It's not about overworking it. It's knowing when to stop. I think I spend more time stopped than I do painting on a painting. Let it breathe. Even when it's hot or cold or uncomfortable, if things are moving, stay with it. It's about listening to that whisper from the work. So if you slow down, you'll hear it. But if you charge ahead with your plans, you can miss it. Oh, I'm sure the painting will work out, but you'll miss the energetic part of it. Those terrible days when you can't hear the gods, when you can't hear the voice of your angels. And the thing is, it's just ordinary life, ordinary everyday life. Some days it's there and some days it's not. Thinking that you can be superhuman beyond the natural cycles is a fool's errand, one that won't give you a very long-lasting career. Because you are literally, this is where you really come into play. This has got nothing to do with anyone else except you. And if you're a highly creative person, you will see the images and they will be dictated not by what everyone sees, but your experience in life, things you love, things you prefer. Not everyone sees the same things. I remember I did a little funny experiment with a friend. We made this great big mural painting like this, and he saw completely different things to what I could. I mean, it was all straight out of his own academic background about mythology and things like that, whereas I saw completely different images. So this is the exciting part about it. We will get there, one stroke at a time, one word at a time, a note at a time. The process is really messy. It's human and it's frustrating, but the dialogue, the act of listening to the work and daring it to bring forward what it shows you is at the very heart of soul making. By sharing my clumsy journey with a painting in the studio with you, I hope that it inspires you to go and do your own. And remember, scale doesn't matter so much. It's really that thing where you just step forward and say, I don't feel like doing it. I can't work out what to paint. So just go in there and take up the paint and lash it on all over the place, get the cheap paper and do it, and you'll be very surprised at what happens. Painters can find it through doing something that's not normal to them, by letting go and allowing something else to come in. Don't have any intentions with the work. By saying something like, I am going to do a thing, what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to go and make communication between these hands, eyes, whatever, and material, physical material. And it doesn't matter what happens out of that. It's the action. There's a great writer who has this quote, which I'm going to make a mess of, but I'll put it up on the screen with his name. And it goes something like, he went to his writing desk every day at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and it just so happened that the Muse was there as well. So it's basically saying that by taking action, you may start in a mess, scratchy and rough and have a bad day. But I have found that the worst paintings that I've ever painted, the ones that I have been so, I could choke myself, they turn out to be the most pivotal, remarkable works. The reason they scare me, and that's a good place to be, is because what I see is foreign to what my intellect knows. So you're going right out there, you're inviting something else in. And don't worry, the interaction will be your intellect, it will be your experience and your thoughts and your feelings, but getting that wild card in, you know, that edge, that X factor, is all about this particular pose. I hope that's been helpful. Now go and have a conversation with your own canvas, paper, violin, lawnmower or pen. See you next time.
Took a wrong turn. My bad, I'm trying to